Our family, when the Qaeda asked my forefathers to come here, they helped build some of the infrastructure and some of the earliest industries over here. Probably probably the most famous example is Habib Bank. And but what I think about it and I reflect on the most is that my grandfather, these forefathers, the uncles, the cousins of that generation, they lived a very balanced life. I mean, on one hand, they were aggressive, passionate entrepreneurs, extremely patriotic, working towards a common vision. But on the other hand, they were very spiritual people as well. They were deeply grounded and rooted in their faith. I came to Karachi for a short trip. It was a holiday. And I started working with our family insurance company called Habib Insurance. And working in this space, I realized that insurance has a lot of opportunity to be disrupted, to be professionalized, to be streamlined, to be automated. Right now, the problem with insurance globally is it's post-mortem. When something bad has happened, then what happened and what's the amount we need to pay you? But how do you take the different services in reducing the risk, in managing the risk or the incident while it's happening? And that's how I found this gap, which is the insurance advisory and brokerage space, but also with that X factor, that little version 2, that I knew that I could give, what's the best way to say it, that I could have a good go at. And that's how I would say, had that dream and then God looked after the rest. HRC, Habib Risk Consultants, it prides itself in working with some of the biggest corporate brands, your blue chip companies, public listed companies here in Pakistan. And what we've been told from our clients is they like that level of care that we took in actually understanding their business and in many occasions fighting tooth and nail and standing with them when there was a claim. One of the things that we also differentiate ourselves by is investing heavily into data analytics, into software engineering. We've got a big R&D budget spent on these things that provide our customers with more transparency. And also, our biggest asset is our people. So we spend a lot of time hiring what we'd like to think of the creme de la creme of this space, the right technical experts and people in our business. Insurance policies, which make no mistake, are legal contracts. They need to be tailor-made, and for that, if we're talking about businesses that are buying insurance, you need to understand that business. You need to spend time with that particular entrepreneur and his or her team to basically see that what is it that you actually do. Because we need to cover all these gaps, and that wasn't being done too well. We saw that a lot of policies, insurance policies, were being copy, pasted, templated, and being sold in the market. So a broker does two things, predominantly two things. Number one, they understand your business and they work with the insurance company to tailor make and write for you an insurance policy that's fit for you. Number two, if there is a claim, they fight tooth and nail to make sure that you get your accurate, due, claimable amount. That's it. That's what a good insurance broker will do. Other services that insurance brokers provide is they manage your entire accounting, your premium accounting. They're a phone call away when you want the expert advice on changes in your business. And also, a good broker is going to help you connect you to other clients that might be value added for your business as well and bring you into a nice network. The misconception I get the most is that insurance companies use fine print and they back out of claims. But it's very far from the truth. It's very far from the truth. Pakistani insurance companies actually do a fantastic job in paying claims, and they pay billions of rupees in claims every year. What I will say is that on the issue of fine print, look, use a good broker. If you're a company, use a good broker. They will use their size, they will use their relationships to help maneuver in situations where you might be stuck in a claim that's a gray area. It does make a difference. If you're an individual that's looking to buy a life insurance policy or a car insurance policy, look at online aggregators. They do a fantastic job. We do look at the balance sheets of local insurance companies, but more than anything, the culture of an insurance company makes a big difference. The types of senior executives and leadership that they have there, and their ethos to standing with their customers when they're in need, is probably the biggest differentiator from what we would call a good insurance company and a bad insurance company. Unfortunately, I think the recent statistic was only 3% of the cars in Pakistan are insured that are on the roads. I think it's almost prudent for regulators to start using insurance first. This is something that you have a lot of third-party risk. By third party, if you're driving your car and you injure someone, that's a lot of the times left to the courts. And you may not be able to actually even potentially afford paying an amount of that size if, God forbid, you even kill someone. So enforcing mandatory third-party insurance for all drivers, I think, is something that Pakistan needs. It actually is, funny enough, a law, just not enforced. So as opposed to new products in Pakistan, I think what we need to focus on is the existing products that are being trialed all over the world, our neighbors that are using them very effectively. And I think that just spending that time, yes, insurance companies, brokers, regulators, to start with, to create better awareness about this is the first step. But then, yes, making sure they're actually being used, because these things are beneficial. There's no two ways about it. They're beneficial for a society at large. When you speak to someone that's had a successful claim payout, whether they lost a loved one and they encashed a life insurance policy, or their car was in a total loss, or maybe their business burned down, and they've paid a fraction, they've paid a small percentage to have that asset or that life insured. But when they receive that check, to bring them back to a position that they were already in, you can never repair the loss of losing a loved one, or for that matter of fact, losing something that you love, but it's extremely beneficial. It's extremely beneficial. And they're usually the biggest proponents, the biggest influencers, so to speak, on telling other people that this is something that you need to do. Because as pools get larger and larger and larger, the total contribution becomes less and less and less, and that price drops as well. What we're seeing is the tide is rapidly changing, where companies are seeing the value of what brokers are bringing. I mean, just for example, there's 28 insurance brokers in Pakistan, all are SECP licensed, all have criterias to meet. We're seeing another tide change, which is a huge tide change. We're seeing a lot of some of the best insurance company professionals leaving insurance companies and joining brokers. So it's providing a huge amount of value to customers, where they get that technical experience as well from a regulated company, from people that have the expertise. So the tide is changing. But one of the big challenges for startup founders in this environment is that, venture capital money is dried up. You don't need OPM all the time to start a company. And look, I'll just use my example over here. Before HRC was started, I spent a lot of time just going out there and hunting, building relationships, expanding my network, and picking up a few customers and managing their insurance. From the funds from that was this company started. And from day one, it was already cash flow positive. And only once we were able to build more and more of a client base did we start to reinvest and reinvest and reinvest. And this company now, mashallah, has grown sizably. But I think back at those early days, and I've got those early guys still working with me, that we were working our butts off just to bring more customers. And I think that the piece of advice for early startup entrepreneurs is, if you spend a lot of time just chasing venture capitalists and angel investors versus spending time with your customers, versus spending time on yourself, on your team, on your product, you're doing a disservice to your own business. Invest in yourself. Find one thing, pick anything, AI, analytics, accounting, pick the guitar even, but spend time in actually building a certain rhythm, a mastery for that one thing. Use online resources, read books, podcasts, online courses. I mean, one thing I did was I found mentors, I found people in these fields or in that area that could help me. But once you've done that, it's remarkable how much value you bring to the marketplace and how much confidence that will give you as well stepping into the marketplace, because now you know at least one thing. And once you've conquered that one thing, conquer other things. Keep learning, keep investing. Stop wasting time. For anyone looking to explore entrepreneurship, anyone that wants to even build up their sales muscles, I do recommend insurance. It's a fantastic training ground. Insurance is one of those things that is not difficult to sell. It's also something that a lot of people and a lot of businesses buy. So to come into this space, make it your training ground, and I'd be more than happy to help any young professional that wants to explore this. I mean, you can, I don't know, so maybe you can comment on the video or get in touch somehow, but we'll be more than happy to help out.